Hey everybody, Emily here. Welcome back to the homestead. I was going to wait till the 1st of August to do another garden tour because I did the last one on July 1st, but I am actually out here to harvest something. I already harvested a handful of green beans, and then I remembered I had to come and get something else very exciting. And I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and do a quick garden tour this morning. My brother is actually here in town, and we are working on building a room in the basement for our oldest kid. So that's pretty exciting. But I'm going to do this garden tour real quick and do a tiny harvest and then get back in and see what I can help with in there. Starting over here with the strawberries that desperately need to be weeded, but the everbearing ones that I planted this year are getting a second round of flowers. So that is exciting. And there's already some berries for me. And I picked one yesterday from this plant down here. It was teeny tiny, but we hadn't gotten rain for quite a while, so that's understandable. As you can probably tell from the cloudy skies behind me, we are going to get rain today, so that will be very welcome. Here are my onions. They are done. I think they need to be harvested. There's several that have already fallen over. They're definitely done. And remember, I planted those bulbs in the ground, and really some of them haven't grown hardly at all, and maybe doubled or tripled in size. So these are all going to be really tiny. That looks like maybe it's the biggest one, and that's not that big. So that's a bummer, but these are bigger than any onions I've ever grown before. So that's something, I guess. A bunch of zinnias growing there. These potatoes need to be harvested as well. And so we'll wait after this next round of rain and hopefully it'll dry up. The carrots are looking nice. They go all the way down. Calendulas starting to get a couple flower buds on it, but haven't bloomed yet. The new growth on these little pumpkins is looking really good. I planted them right before we left for Indiana. And unfortunately, it didn't rain the entire time we were gone. And my oldest child, who was left in charge up here, did not water at all, which I didn't ask for that to be done, so that's okay. And when I got back, lots of things were very crispy. Fortunately, though, most everything bounced back after a good watering. And these peas, those are completely done. I'm going to pull those out and let them hang dry somewhere else until I can save the seeds. But these are the green beans that I harvested from this morning. Really just a handful, but it was something, so that's exciting. They're starting to produce. Over here, got the other planting of potatoes, and they also need to be harvested. And then the brassicas. We've got the pepper plants that are in there as well. And the Brussels sprouts are actually starting to grow better. The kale looks like I could harvest some more kale if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that this morning. The dino kale is finally taking off. And my cabbages are looking great. Something is still eating them a little bit. I don't think it's cabbage worms, cabbage looper moth, caterpillars, whatever they're called. But like other bugs have gotten stuck in here, like grasshoppers and stuff. The red cabbage is still pretty tiny. And This is my favorite cabbage here. It's so pretty. It should be ready pretty soon. Its head is getting pretty tight. On the other side, I kind of skipped that. Past the potatoes, there's the kohlrabi. It's still not producing any kind of bulb at the bottom. I'm not 100% sure what kohlrabi is supposed to do because I've never grown it before. Puny cabbages aren't looking so great. They have been fertilized, but they're still kind of yellow and red. And then teeny tiny little pepper plants right there, right there. I think those are jalapenos. They're not doing so great. Most of these little ones that I planted in this area died, unfortunately. And these were looking really crispy when I got back from our trip last week, but they bounced back. They're looking okay. Now, back over here with the cabbages, we have the broccoli. This is what I'm going to harvest because it already looks like it's about to open up, and I didn't even notice that it was growing here.
We have 2 crab apple trees.
Yep.
Oh my god, look at all these potatoes. They're ready to harvest.
They are. Look at this, though.
Oh my god, is that the purple broccoli?
I think it is.
Cool.
No. This is Sun King. This is Sun King.
Are we gonna go collect those?
Yeah, all the purple sprouting died.
No. That's
Sorry,
mine.
Kara.
I'm still gonna pick this broccoli. I will be going to collect these.
Oh, start there. So here is the little broccoli head. It is definitely, starting to open up already. Really wish I had noticed it earlier, but the sun kind of reflects off of this insect netting, and it's kind of hard to see in there early in the morning when I'm watering. But as you can see, I'm standing under a crabapple tree that is producing apples. Some of these apples are bigger than 2 inches, which might mean they're not a crabapple. But there's 2 trees here, and one of the apples is a lot smaller than the other one. And it has also started raining, so I'm going to try to go through the rest of it really quick. Moving from the brassicas to the next row, we've got some sunflowers, some green beans. This is where I put the acorn squash, and there's a honeydew melon in there. These are not doing well. The honeydew melons and the watermelons, they are doing very poorly, and one set of watermelons actually died. We planted something else in instead. That cucumbers reached the trellis. This tomato is new. It is a black prince that my sister brought up with her, and she had just never gotten around to planting it in her garden, so she planted it in mine. Already with a tomato on it. We're just gonna leave it. Normally I would pick something like that off, but I'm just gonna see what happens. And we're getting lots of flowers on the tomato plants. This one has reached the trellis, which is awesome. I think that is a Tommy-toe cherry tomato. I think the tag's on the other side. So these sunflowers are getting nice and big, which is cool. We're getting lots of blooms on these green beans. There's flowers on the other side. There's some zinnias. There's some basil, marigolds. That one's opening up. And one of these tomato plants has little tiny tomatoes forming on it, but Since it's raining, I'm not going to take the time to try to figure out which one it is. Got some pretty blooms on these marigolds. That's nice. And over here we've got zinnias and okra. There is a bloom, multiple blooms on the okra over here. So they're so tiny though, which is so weird. Probably because our weather got cooler again. The zinnias are getting ready to bloom, and the Japanese beetles love them. Look at these poor leaves. They're doing this to my orchard too. So we're out here almost every day picking them off and feeding them to the chickens. Here are all of my summer squash. Most of them, especially the first round that I planted, are getting big, getting some blooms on them. You can see, where is it? Right there. There's a female blossom right there forming. So that's exciting. Oh, there's more there. There's multiple female blossoms and male. You can eat both. And you can tell which ones were from when I reseeded. They're just so small. But that's okay. And more sunflowers. These are even taller than the ones across from them. And then over here, we still had, what kind is this? The pickle bush. Still had poor germination on the pickle bush, even though I planted it a second time. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. That's not as many seeds as I planted, but down here we've got lots more. And they are looking really nice. Hopefully the rain has stopped, so that's good. Here is the first cucumber with blossoms, and to reach the trellis. It reached the trellis a couple days ago. That one's not quite to the trellis yet. These are a whole bunch more cucumbers. The one tomato on this side, and the acorn squash. Got some more sunflowers. These are a different variety than those big ones down there. And then on this side, just a whole bunch of nasturtiums. They look so pretty. I need to do a little bit of weeding in here, but mostly it's just this purslane, and it's really keeping most of the weeds out. I see there's a dandelion right there, I think. No, that's not a dandelion. I can see there's, a weed right there and a piece of grass. But for the most part, it's keeping the other weeds at bay, which is exactly why I left it there. Back over here by these big sunflowers, this is the tomato plant that has the tiny tomatoes forming on it already. Since it stopped raining, I thought I would go ahead and find them. Yay! And I have some dill that survived. This zinnia is also about to open. It'll be a pink one, it looks like. And that is the garden tour. Quick and not a whole lot going on. There's a lot coming that I'm excited about. All the potatoes and onions that need to be harvested. We're going to need to do that really soon. And I'm going to be replanting the peas with a fall crop of shelling peas instead of snapping peas. Or snap peas. And my sister brought me a whole bunch of little seedlings to plant after I get the potatoes and onions up. So that is exciting. I've got some fall/winter, there's a bug in my face. There's some fall/winter gardening in my future, which I'm excited about. I've never had a fall garden, but I'm going to give it a shot this year. And thank you for coming along with me on this quick little garden tour and tiny harvest. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.